Some people don't need weapons to ruin your life. They just need a mouth. And if you're not careful, stupid people will destroy your peace, poison your thoughts, and make you question your own sanity. But here's the truth Stoicism teaches. You don't need to fight fire with fire. You need to fight ignorance with clarity. Today, I'm going to reveal 6 brutal truths about dealing with stupid people. And once you know them, you'll never be manipulated, dragged down, or drained again. Right, stay with me till the end, because the last one will make you completely immune to their chaos. One shot, stupid people always think they're right, even when they're not. One of the most dangerous traits of stupid people is this: they never think they're wrong. They'll argue for hours, deny reality, and twist the facts, all to protect their fragile ego. They confuse loudness with truth. They confuse confidence with intelligence. And if you're not careful, you'll waste your energy trying to prove a point to someone who's already decided they're not listening. The Stoics had no time for this. Epictetus said it best: "It is impossible to begin to learn that which one thinks one already knows." When you try to reason with a fool, you don't win. You just get dragged down. So the next time you're faced with this kind of person, don't argue, don't explain, don't play their game. Just walk away. Because walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. But what happens when their stupidity turns aggressive? What if they actively drag you into their chaos? Let's move to Chapter 2, where we confront the subtle danger of emotional contamination. 2. Stupidity is contagious. If you're not careful, it infects you. Here's a hard truth most people ignore. Emotion and stupidity are both highly contagious. You may think you're immune. You may believe you're calm, grounded, and logical. But spend enough time around foolishness, and it starts to leak into you. You begin to raise your voice. You start reacting instead of responding. You catch yourself thinking, "Why am I even in this conversation?" This is exactly what the Stoics warned us about. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." When you constantly think about idiocy, chaos, and conflict, your inner peace begins to rot. That's why you must protect your mental environment as fiercely as you protect your physical health. Don't debate with people who crave drama. Don't explain yourself to people who won't understand. Don't stoop down to ignorance. It's a bottomless pit. You don't have to fight them. You just have to refuse to join them. But what if these people are in your workplace or even your family? What do you do when you can't walk away? Let's explore the brutal truth in Chapter 3, how to protect your energy in close proximity. 3. You can't save them, but they can definitely sink you. Here's a painful truth many good people refuse to accept. You can't fix stupidity. You can't logic someone out of a mindset they never reasoned themselves into. And the more you try to help, the more you get pulled into the mud. That's how many wise men fall. Not because they're wrong, but because they waste their energy trying to enlighten those who don't want the light. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Foolish people don't believe they're wrong. They don't seek clarity, they seek validation. And if you disagree, you become their enemy. That's when your peace becomes their playground. You argue, you defend, you get emotionally drained trying to prove something to someone who was never listening to begin with. So what's the Stoic move? It's not cruelty, It's not arrogance, it's detachment. You protect yourself by recognizing it's not your job to save every sinking ship, especially when it's dragging you down with it. But if walking away is the answer, does that mean you're weak? Not at all. In Chapter 4, we'll uncover why boundaries are not just smart. They're necessary for survival. Shakriyuans Rarity. 4. Boundaries aren't rude, they're self-defense. You've probably been taught to be polite, to give second chances, to explain yourself, to keep the peace, even when it costs you your sanity. But here's the brutal truth. When you don't set boundaries with stupid people, you invite chaos into your life. They won't respect your time, they won't respect your silence, and they certainly won't respect your values. In fact, the more patience you show, the more they test how far they can push you. Stoic wisdom isn't about tolerating nonsense. It's about protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That means you don't need to engage. You don't need to correct. You don't need to prove anything. You simply draw the line and walk away when it's crossed, not to punish them, but to protect yourself. Because boundaries are not walls. They're doors that separate peace from poison. But what if the stupid person is someone close to you? Family, co-workers, even your partner? That's where it gets harder. And that's exactly what Chapter 5 will reveal. How to deal with foolishness when you can't fully escape it. Downright. 5. When you can't escape them. Master detachment. Sometimes a stupid person is your boss, your sibling, your in-laws, or even your partner. And here's the brutal truth. You can't always remove them from your life, but you can remove their power over your peace. This is where Stoic detachment becomes your shield. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop reacting. It's the ability to say, I see what they're doing. I don't need to absorb it. I hear the nonsense. I don't need to respond. As Epictetus taught, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. That's not weakness. That's mastery. Because while they explode in drama, you remain calm. While they bait you into chaos, you remain unmoved. And while they spiral in confusion, you rise above it with clarity. You don't try to fix them. You don't beg for logic. You don't waste another second explaining common sense to someone who's allergic to it. Instead, you master your inner state. And when you do that, even the dumbest noise around you loses its power. But there's one last truth you must understand to protect your future peace. A truth about what happens when you don't deal with stupidity properly. Let's uncover it in the final chapter. Chapter 6. Tolerating stupidity too long destroys you. Here's the most brutal truth of all. Stupid people won't just drain your patience. They will drain your potential. The more time you spend explaining things they'll never understand, the less time you spend building the life you were meant for. The more you tolerate their chaos, the more you normalize dysfunction. The more you keep giving second chances, the more you lose your standards. Seneca warned us, "He who spends too much time in the company of fools will become one of them." That's not arrogance. That's her self-respect. Because your energy is sacred, your time is priceless, and your peace is not up for negotiation. Stupid people don't just misunderstand you. They misdirect you. They steer your life into pointless conversations, avoidable mistakes, and exhausting emotions. But the Stoic man, he doesn't stay stuck in that loop. He draws the line. He walks away when wisdom is no longer welcome. And most of all, he protects his soul, like it's his only true possession. So if you've been tolerating stupidity for too long, let this be your sign. It's time to rise above. Correction, brutal, but freeing. At first, these truths may sound harsh, but sometimes harsh truths are the most healing ones. You see, Stoicism doesn't sugarcoat reality. It sharpens it, not to make you cruel, but to make you clear. Because the more clearly you see the world, the less likely you are to be manipulated by it. Dealing with stupidity isn't just annoying, it's dangerous to your time, your growth, and your peace. And once you recognize that, you stop trying to educate those who refuse to learn. You stop fixing what doesn't want to be fixed. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you build boundaries. You rise in silence. You walk with clarity. Because in the end, Stoicism isn't about looking wise, it's about living wisely. Even if that means letting go of people who slow you down. If this video spoke to something deep inside you, if you've had enough of the chaos, confusion, and senseless drama, don't just listen, live it. Start filtering your environment, choose your battles wisely, and when needed, walk away without guilt. Subscribe now to join a tribe of men who value strength, clarity, and peace of mind. Leave a comment below. What's the most frustrating encounter you've had with someone who just refused to get it? Let your story sharpen someone else's strength. Remember, you can't fix stupid, but you can fix your response to it. Live with wisdom, live with power, live stoic,